Olympic National Park probably catapulted to our top 5 national parks, but I would say it did have a pretty crazy advantage. We went on our first flight-seeing tour of the trip, courtesy of Wright Brothers Aviation in Port Angeles, Washington, the gateway city. It was just incredible. The views of the mountains stretching on forever blew our minds. And then we also saw all the valleys where the water would flow down, like the Elwha River, the Ho River here. Just the greenery from above, the rivers winding through. It really gave you an idea of the scope of the park because it is so big and so much is inaccessible. Right here is Lake Crescent, another place where the water just collects in this beautifully clear blue lake. After that incredible introduction, we got back to the trails. Storm King was a really cool hike, a local favorite, where you could climb up and look over Lake Crescent. Then we headed out to the coast in a couple days later. This is Second Beach. What we heard was the best of all the beaches on the 70-something mile Olympic coast. The park is unique because the coastal section is actually separated from the main area of the park. Later along the coast, we were able to get out and do some backpacking. Just walking through the sands, the trail took us from the sand coast right up these headlands that you had to cross up and back down to the next part of the coast. We saw from up on one of those headlands this really rare tidal waterfall that goes straight down into the ocean. I think there's only 2 in the United States. But the views just from the beach everywhere were incredible. You can see those really interesting sea stacks out in the ocean. And then we got to set up camp. Had a little fun with some time lapse. And it is a beautiful spot at Toleak Point. Again, we had some time to play around with slow-mo, but the sunset was just incredible. The way it silhouetted the sea stacks and reflected off the ocean. Yeah, that's not time-lapse, that's just something weird with the ocean, I don't know. Just kidding. And we had a rare campfire that night because there is plenty of driftwood on the coast. And in the morning when we woke up, we were shocked to see how low the tide was at that point. It had just uncovered these crazy tide pools. But after the coast, we went back inland, and there was a whole nother section to Olympic. We got to explore the forests. First Soldoc, and then the famous Ho rainforest, which is incredibly lush. It's the only rainforest in the U.S. Ferns, moss-covered trees everywhere. Just incredible shades of green. And this was our last day in Olympic. It really brought everything together well, and we loved experiencing so many unique parts of Olympic National Park.